Well, good evening and welcome to EBN Weekend Edition. My name is Frederick Njiri. Now, in a couple of minutes or so, we'll be looking at some of the things that have happened in the course of this week. And then later on, we'll have a conversation still on the family. We want to find out what role the man is supposed to play in ensuring that the family values are maintained. All this will be coming up in a couple of minutes. First, let's take a look at the highlights. Walk the talk. Opposition leader Raila Odinga now tells President Ruto over the Mau forest conservation. Climate change, it's a Western agenda. Climate change NGOs claim the Western countries have taken over the talks set to start tomorrow. Who dropped the ball? Tonight, we'll look at how families can be able to track their way back to the original values that honor God. Welcome back. Now, opposition leader Raila Odinga has urged the Ma community not to sell off their land, as this will become a thorn in the flesh in the future. Raila, who was in Narok County today, warned the Ma not to fall to the lie that missionary came with to the country bearing the Bible and ended up with the land, while the Ma community were left with the Bible and their land completely gone. Here's that story. Jetted into the country for the Africa Climate Change Summit, and opposition leader Raila Odinga was poking holes into the government's commitment to maintaining the environment. Speaking in Narok County during a Thanksgiving service, Raila accused the Ruto government of being hypocritical and playing lip service to the conservation war, claiming the government has closed its eyes to the destruction of the Mau forest.
Hapa Mau, unajua kesho wanaanza, kuna mkutano kubwa ya ulimwengu inakuja Nairobi kuongea juu ya mambo ya mazingira. Lakini hapa Kenya ukiongea juu ya mazingira, swala nyeti ni mambo ya Mau. Sisi tulijaribu sana kuhifadhi Mau, lakini jamaa walikuwa kila mara kwa mara na wanaolafi ya mambo ya ardhi. Watu wameingia ndani ya Mau, wanakatakata miti huko. Tulisema watoke. Tukaambiwa kwamba nyinyi hamtapata kura zetu baadaye. Nikawaambia afadhali niende niuze mandazi Kibira badala ya Mau, ili akili Mau ihifadhiwe. Sasa bado.
Raila also tore into the Kotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli, accusing him of abdicating his responsibility of speaking out for the worker, saying he's now in dalliance with the government and maintains that Azimio will fill the gap.
Msiongeze tena mzigo juu yake. Tukasema gharama maisha imejuu, bei ya unga iko juu, bei ya mafuta, bei ya sukari, bei ya ngano, gharama kodi ya nyumba, si kila kitu iko juu. Tukamwambia punda imechoka, usiongeze mzigo tena, na wakazidi kuongeza. Sasa wameongeza ushuru, tena ongeza ingine na ingine. Sisi tumesema tunataka wananchi wawe sawasawa. Sasa chama cha wafanyikazi inatakikana inatetea haki ya wafanyikazi, imeingia kwa kitanda na serikali. Mkurugenzi wa Kotu ameingia kule kwa serikali. Yeye ndiye anasifu serikali, nafanya kazi mzuri, watu wazimia wakubali walishindwa, waache bwana Ruto atawale na kadhalika. Nasema Atwoli, wewe kazi yako ni kutetea haki ya wananchi, haki ya wafanyikazi.
Raila also questions the credentials of President William Ruto, saying the threats he had issued to the sugar businessmen in the country were completely unpresidential.
Mtu ambaye ako hapa kama Mkenya ati wewe unachagua matatu. Uhame Kenya, niweke wewe jela au uende mbinguni. Je, hiyo ni mtu gani? Yeye mtu ni rais kweli? Wewe ni rais? Wewe sasa kama mtu kama mimi ni hame Kenya niende wapi? Na yeye anasema akuweke wewe jela. Kupeleka mtu jela kwanza mpaka uchunguzi ifanyike, apatikane ana hatia, ipeleke mahakamani, mahakama iridhike kwamba jamaa kumbe ana hatia, ana makosa, ndio mahakama yaamue kupeleka wewe jela, ama sivyo?
Now, President William Ruto today drove himself to Kenyatta International Conference Center for the Africa Climate Summit. The president drove an electric car with an all-electric motorcade to connect Africa's youth on the climate declaration ahead of the Africa Climate Summit, which starts tomorrow. Now, speaking during the opening ceremony of the Africa Youth Climate Assembly, which preceded the Africa Climate Summit, Ruto said Africa has the capacity to expand its economy and prosperity while offering climate-smart solutions.
Bill Gates, one of the richest people on earth, said the best way to deal with poverty is chicken farming. That's Bill Gates. Yeah, so I want you to listen to that carefully. And in that space, you have an opportunity in the whole farming arena. I have listened to Adesina many times, and he says the next billionaires will be billionaires around farming. I've heard you say that, Adesina. Have you changed your mind?
No, it's true.
It's true. He says he still believes it is. So that is the space that not only gives us an opportunity to have a globe that is food secure, but also creates real value, real jobs, real enterprises, and real wealth, if I may say that, real wealth. So the investments are modest. The technology is available on what you need to do. Raw materials are local, and the technology, including know-how, is also local. Chicken farming is not something new. It's been here for us for decades. And the markets are also available. In fact, chicken is the cheapest source of protein. So if you're looking for the cheapest source of protein, do chicken farming. And if you're looking at sustainability, that you need to get the easiest, the cheapest route to making sure that we have the proteins to support our growth. And in any case, let me conclude by saying 25% of the world's labor force will come from the African continent by 2030. 40% of the world's workforce will come from the African continent by 2050. That world labor force has to be healthy and fed. And that is why chicken farming is central to us providing cheap proteins, healthy living for the future labor force, and that is the young people of our continent. Also encouraged that the young people of our continent are stepping forward boldly to say we don't want to be bystanders. We do not want to be attendees of conferences and ushers in places. We want to participate. We have ideas. We have suggestions. We have positions that we can, perspectives that we can present on the one single challenge that faces humanity.
Now, a group of Africa climate civil societies are now claiming that the Africa Climate Summit has been hijacked by the Western countries. The group, calling itself Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, claims that the organization and the agenda for the summit has little to do with the African continent and only gives credence and preeminence to Western interests. They claim that the organizers have excluded non-state actors from the talks.
Prepare to gather for the upcoming Africa Climate Summit, we, a collective of non-state actors, bringing together diverse groups across sectors, express deep concern and disappointment over the preparation and the agenda of the summit. Beyond the African Climate Summit, this confusion will direct impact Africa participation in another critical UNFCCC process, the Africa Climate Week, as both events are under one accreditation umbrella. Summit organizers have deliberately failed to ensure adequate participation and consultation of non-state actors, especially those from the most vulnerable and marginalized communities, in planning and implementation of the summit.
Well, the summit starts tomorrow, and 5 African presidents are expected into the country to attend the summit, which is supposed to look at how Africa is supposed to respond to this and some of the things they can demand from Western countries, which, when it comes to climate destruction, they're at the top. So all this will be happening tomorrow. You can be very sure there are quite a number of roads that have actually been cordoned off so that you're not going to use them. Find out whether some of those roads are the ones you normally use, so you can get to your place of work with a lot of ease. Anyway, more than 50 families were left homeless and property destroyed after a fire gutted down houses and businesses in a farmer's village in Limuru, Kiambu County. The fire started in one of the houses at around midnight, then spread to other houses fueled by cooking gas. All right, then I need to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get into a conversation that is so key. We started this conversation last week on Sunday at a time like this, when we started talking about how the values within the family and the society are being eroded to a point whereby right now the picture is not clear, the line is not clear in as far as values are concerned. And by the way, I don't know whether you heard it, but even the churches themselves came up with a code of ethics for churches, something that majority of us never thought we were ever going to see. We'll have this conversation in a couple of minutes when we come back, so don't go away.
This is EBN TV, transforming your world.
From the oldies to the latest song, on the Request Hour show, we play you the songs that you request. Whether in reggae,
rising up to take their place.
whether in hip hop,
For God is no estimate.
whether in worship, any song, any genre that you want to listen to, we play it here on the Request Hour show. Join me, Alice Njiri, on this Wednesday and every Wednesday and Friday, only on EBN TV from 5 to 6 p.m.
You've seen them on TV.
Nakushukuru Mungu wangu kwa kunifikisha hapa.
But do you know their stories? Come with me.
If people look at me,
yes,
even before they hear me, will they see Jesus?
Wezi ambia watu mimi am a worshiper, na wakati you are worshiping people can't encounter God.
Ukisoma hiyo inabidi sana katika ile maisha yako hata kama kwamba hauimbi.
Join me, Teddy Salmist, Mwana wa Ngolo Mosio
and DJ Show
every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. only on EBN TV.
Every Thursday from 8:30 p.m.
Listen, every man needs God. And every man needs to learn to humble himself before God.
Enjoy teachings from Pastor Chris Oyakilome.
Here's what the Lord is instructing you to do. Prepare yourself in the Word of God. Feed your faith. Prepare yourself in the Word.
Build your faith and get to know who you are in Christ Jesus.
Feed your faith. There's a spiritual attack of some kind through sickness. Build your faith strong.
Every Thursday from 8:30 p.m. on EBN TV, transforming your world. Fast-paced world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters, your relationship with God. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we take you on a transformative journey of building your faith, without which it's impossible to please God. A journey of introspection and discovery of who you are in Christ Jesus.
For you to walk with God, you should not crumble when you come under pressure. Kama umeokoka, sema umeokoka mpaka mbele ya president, mpaka mbele ya chief justice, mpaka mbele ya kila mtu. Hiyo ndio kuokoka ya ukweli. Kuokoka ya ukweli.
Enjoy a faith-filled environment of worship and ministry of the word every Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 a.m. with Reverend Felix Kevoy, exclusively on EBN TV.
The word of the Lord.
Welcome back. Now, incidentally, I have a friend in the studio who is in not very good moods because he supports Manchester United, Victor Enzo Belli, and I'm told that Manchester have just been whipped by Arsenal. Anyway, he will nurse his wounds as he goes home. But right now, we got to look at what we need to do for our families. And with me in the studio, I have a gentleman called Austin Agwanda.
Yes.
Austin Agwanda from Man Enough.
Yes.
Man Enough is you and what's his name?
Pastor Simon
Bevy.
Yes.
Have been doing a lot of things towards helping the man regain his position in the family.
Yes.
And once the man has regained his position in the family, then the family unit goes back to, becomes A-okay.
Yes.
Now, let me ask you, if you look at the situation right now in the families, what has gone wrong? Because if you look at the values, the world right now is gotten to a place where values have disappeared. And even within the Christian setup, the families are suffering from the same thing. Where did we go wrong?
I think we not being able to be intentional about family. And just recently we were looking at a country like Rwanda.
Yes.
They are very intentional in terms of family and values.
Yes.
They have a ministry for family, specifically for family.
Yeah.
And
So they have a ministry that has been set as
set
a government ministry
for families. And you'll find that it starts even if you look at our country here in Kenya, you'll find that when the government is making decisions, like now, how many times does the father spend with the kids at home?
Yes.
The father works from Monday to Saturday. He doesn't spend time with the family. He comes at night. It's not enough time to spend with the family.
Yes.
Why we should be able to reduce that particular time so that we have more time for family. So the government should be very intentional on creating that particular space for the working hours.
Yes.
So that at the end of the day, even if you look even at our country, even our leaders, it all begins at the family level. All these people, the president, everybody has been raised at a family level. If we don't raise these people at a family level, then we create that particular, then we wonder what went wrong with our leaders. It started at a family level. How are these people raised?
So who dropped the ball at the family level? Because we've got the mother, the child, and the mother. I mean, we got the father, the mother, and the children.
Yes. So who in terms of who dropped the ball? We find that generally men were expected to offer leadership. And everything has changed in our society. We look at back in the days and looking at now, we have seen modernization, technology.
Yeah.
Back in the days, the role of the man, even in terms of setting leadership, was different.
Yes.
Now, man is now going to work and everything. Technology has changed. But generally, the role of a man is to be able to offer leadership, taking initiative and not being passive.
Are we seeing a situation where men have become passive?
Yeah, they are laid back. We should be able to see men taking leadership.
What has caused this? What has caused the man to take a backseat?
I think a lot the expectations and what is expected of the man in the society, but a man should be able to take initiative.
Has the expectation changed? I mean, if you look at our fathers and forefathers,
yeah,
there was an expectation still within the society that this is what the man or the father was supposed to do. Has the expectation changed to get to a point where whereby the man is now dropping the ball? He's no longer felt in the family.
Yeah, because the expectations are supposed to be there, but the world has set a high expectations
for the man.
For the man, and the man feels so pressured. And what
are these expectations? Sorry, I'll keep on pondering that until we get a clearer picture. What are these expectations that the world has put on the man today that were not there yesterday or during our forefathers?
You see, that's why we should be able to redefine what the real masculinity is. Because many people think mwanaume ni pesa, mwanaume ni wallet, mwanaume ni biceps. And what we teach the men outside there is a man should be able to take initiative. A man should be able to live responsibly. That's how we define. A man should be able to leave a legacy. So that's how we define. A man should be able to love faithfully. Live sacrificially, love sacrificially. So that's how we define, not in terms of money. If a man doesn't have money, then you say it's not a man enough. So you quantify
Today's man is being defined by how deep his pocket is.
His pocket is, and he feels pressured even in terms of relationship. Now the other gender will want a man who was already financially able.
So it's a situation of no romance without finance.
You must have money. If you don't have money, we are not going to talk about anything.
Yes.
And the man feels cornered. The man is under pressure, because what the society has put there is not what the role of a man is. So the man is not in a well spaced, because what is in the social media, what is in the social media is very, what is in the social media is very, it's not very good.
Let me help you with this microphone.
Yes.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. So what is being put out in the society and in the social media is not what the real definition of masculinity is. So that's why I was telling a man takes initiative, loves faithfully, lives responsibly, and also should
he takes initiative, loves faithfully, and lives responsibly,
and lives a worthwhile legacy. He should have something that he should be remembered for. So he should be able to leave a legacy at the end of the day.
So when you look at the family today, the values are, basically the things that our forefathers taught our fathers, and told them, there was a time when if a man came from a family where they steal stuff, even the entire village,
yes,
and the daughters were told, and the men were also told, don't ever get married to a person who comes from that family, because they are thieves, or they are corrupt, or they are this. But right now, if you look at what we are treasuring, it doesn't matter if a man comes to seek the hand of my daughter and he drives a very sleek Range Rover.
Yes.
I don't give a hoot where he got his money.
Yes.
I may know that this guy has been not being clean when it comes to acquiring his wealth.
Yeah.
But the money, I'll give my daughter over. That's the values. Where did those values disappear?
And this goes back to also it goes back to the modernization, and also it goes back to the father be able to be intentional and not think about money. Look at how we
it's not easy, is it?
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's easily said than done, not to think about money, because I get home, my wife needs money to do this, my kids need this to go to school. I've got to pay rent. I've got to pay all the bills. And so it is not as easy as you're saying, is it?
Yes. And what I want to say is the father should be able to place this value when in terms of family level as a man, put these particular values. You have a son, you have a daughter, being able to teach them this value, being able to take them to adventures, being able to show them that vulnerability, being able to show them
you yourself being vulnerable.
Tell them, baby or boy, listen, today I went to work, it didn't work. Don't show them you can get something easily. Show them that things can work today, things cannot work today. Being able to be vulnerable with them. Go with them in adventures. When you're going to buy a land, go with them. Try to negotiate when they are seeing. Teach them those particular values, so that when they are growing, they can be able to negotiate. They can be able to change their tires. They can be able to be vulnerable. And even in terms of vulnerability, when you stay with your children in the house, they tend to, you want to question them until you go with them outside and spend time with them, adventure, ride bike, and listen to what they are saying.
Let me bring it down to where the rubber meets the road. Take, for instance, yourself.
Yes.
How much time did your dad spend? Have you always known what to do?
For me, I have not always known what to do, because I saw my father in terms of authority. Especially there's a time we were traveling, and we were moving from Nairobi to Kisumu. And immediately we got into the car, I put my earphones on. What are we going to talk about in between Nairobi to Kisumu?
With your dad.
With your dad. With my dad. I don't have anything to talk about. If we reach Nakuru is when I ask for lunch, and he said, no, we have to be talking in this particular car, having conversations. Are you seeing someone? What do you think? Why do you think you like her?
And at that time, your mind is telling you, what in the world is wrong with this dude?
Dude, I have never had those particular conversations, because I see a serious man. I see a serious face, and many a times we tunaogopa because of the nature and the authority of the father. When he comes to the house, everybody scatters.
Now, having said that, have today's fathers become too friendly to their children, to a point whereby, there was a sort of fear, but at the same time respect. There are things you could not do in front of your parents. There are things you could not say in front of your dad or your mom, for that matter. Most of the time, people got away with their mom. But you couldn't even think or dream, even in your wildest dream, of saying things, doing or saying things in front of your dad. But today they're being done.
Yeah. And I think we should be able to balance. It goes back to balance, being able, and that's where even you look at it also in terms of how God is. There is one side of, you should be able to balance.
So God has a serious part where he's a judge.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a father with an everlasting love.
Yes. The same we should be able to do at a family setup. Because there's one time you should stamp your authority, and you should be able to offer leadership, and at the same time you should also be friendly. Because when you are not friendly, they will not want to open up to you. Why will I want to open up to you? Why will I want to tell you, Dad, I found a girl. What do you think? Because you must give room for those particular conversations, because I must feel safe to be able to open up to you. Because if you just show that side of you are authoritative and you are this, your face and everything, I cannot be able to open up to you. So you should be able to balance, not to be too friendly and also not to be too to
be too serious. Like the kid says, nobody laughs in the house when dad is around.
Yes. You should be able to balance, provide that particular leadership, spend time with them, listen to them, what's going on through their mind, what are they learning. So be able to offer that particular leadership as a man. Yes.
You say something that's very unique. I attended the burial of the father-in-law to one of my friends. He's called Pastor More. Pastor More always comes on EBN. The father-in-law had a very unique, I just listened to the stories that were being given by people who interacted with him. His children, their nephews and all that. Very unique relationship. He was a man of God. And he would write letters to them. He loved writing letters. So he would write letters to his kids.
Yes.
How much he loves them, and they would respond. And it was such an amazing, kind of relationship. And when he passed, you just listen to what the nephews, the nieces, and the grandchildren are saying about their grandpa, and you just love it, because they're talking about how he was so loving. He would write those letters, but at the same time, there are places you would cross, and you meet a different kind of a person. But he was very, very loving. So now, how do we go back to that position, if we need to? How do we go back to that position? Because I keep on saying, LGBTQ situation is here.
Yes.
And it's here to stay.
Yes.
we can no longer hide our heads in the sand. It is here. And the more we hide our heads in the sand, the more it's sweeping the young people. How do the fathers now take that position whereby they are able to go and restore what is now being worked on by the Western countries and Hollywood, dimming the line between a male and a female?
What we should be able to do, and I think it's very important, and it's a role of a man. He is a king. He is a mentor. When the boy or your child starts growing up, be involved as soon as possible. We are in a situation where people are questioning whether somebody is a boy or a girl. Somebody is questioning their gender. They don't know whether they are a boy or a girl. Where did it begin? At a family level, because you must be so much involved in the child's life and explain to him, and that goes to identity. This person does not know who he is. So we are in a situation where most of our young people are suffering from identity crisis.
They don't know who they are.
They don't know who they are. So when a lot of things come, when a lot of Western culture comes and you don't explain, and this is because they are exposed to the internet. They are exposed to what is outside there. So when you don't set up values, this is what is the value of this particular home. You are offering leadership.
So a home, every home should have a value system.
Yeah, because
you say as the Njiris, we never do this. This is how we behave.
Even in the Bible it says, as for my house.
As for me
and my house.
Yes.
Because you have to set values for this particular house. What are the values that this particular family is known for? What do we stand for? And God said we are made in the image and likeness of God. What does that mean? There must be integrity. There must be maturity. There must be authenticity. There must be goals. We must have excellence. So when God is speaking about image, he was speaking as a family. Let's look at integrity. Let's look at maturity, excellence, authenticity. Set up values for this particular family. What are we supposed to do? It's not good to bribe. Set those particular values. And they will ask you, Dad, why is it wrong? Because they will ask. If you don't explain to them, don't have sex. They will ask you why. They will always want to ask. So
normally you just say, because I said so. Just don't do it.
Or it is time to sleep. It is time to sleep. Why is Daddy and Mommy telling me? It's time. They will go and peep. And why? What are they trying to hide that they don't want us to watch? Explain to them, because you have to explain to them why. Don't just tell them don't do this.
Tell them why and its effect.
Why and its effect. If they love someone, give them that room. That's how I was saying, being able to an open space, so that when they love someone, even from a tender age, so they're just saying unknowingly, Daddy, I like. So do you understand what it means to like so and so? So that you get to understand, do they understand? So all these things comes at a family setup. Do you set these values at an early stage? So by the time these things come, you have laid a foundation as a father, as your role as a man. You have offered leadership. You have given them values. You have nurtured them in terms of character and everything. So by the time, because you will not be with them for a long time, they are going to go to high schools. They are going to meet other people's children who are already exposed to these things. They are going to have gadgets. And when they meet these things and they're going to meet them, they are going to see, if you didn't set a good foundations,
they will be tossed around.
They will be tossed around
with every wind of doctrine.
Why are these people thinking about this? So they will begin questioning, if you didn't lay foundations. What if Daddy didn't tell me the whole truth? Why does this one wear a skirt or this one does not wear this one wears a trouser? So if we don't set those particular values and nurture them at an early stage, then we give room when things come up. So when we don't set those values,
when there's a vacuum, nature bores a vacuum.
Yes.
So when there's a vacuum, something will come.
Yes.
I had a very interesting conversation with two gentlemen on it was last week on Friday. Actually, Friday, I had one of our pastors, Pastor David, and he was telling us how, on Sundays, how because there's not enough traffic on the road, so the lights will move, but people just cross. Now, he's already taught his children that red means stop.
Yes.
Amber, get ready.
Yes.
Green, go.
Yes.
On Sundays, when there's no traffic within the CBD, people just move. And so he was driving, and I think the light was at red, but there's no traffic around.
Yeah.
And as he tried to pass or drive past, the son was screaming from the back. The child was saying, "It's red, don't go. It's red, don't go."
Wow.
So he had to explain to the young one the reason why. Because the situation is like this. So that shows you this is a man who's taken time to train his children on the values.
Yeah.
And also I had Dr. Peter who said he overlapped because there was traffic and he wanted to take us a certain time. And the son in the car, this young man, was just telling, no, don't do that, Dad, don't do that, Dad. And it's because he had told the young one that doing this is wrong. So if we can train our children, then we'll be able to deal with the corruption and some of the things that are happening in the country.
Even having these particular conversations.
Yes.
Don't shy away from having these particular conversations. Maybe there's a parent there who is saying, okay, my son has already grown up, my child has already grown up. Be so involved. What are they consuming? If you don't have these particular conversations, there's something going on TV, ask them, what do you think? Because they're going to be exposed to these particular things outside there. Do you have those particular conversations? You have watched news, there's something going on, there's this conversation, sit them down. What do they think about that particular conversation? If you fail to have those particular and shy away, a lot of young people now are on social media.
Yeah.
What do they consume? Can you be able to check what they consume in those particular social media? So if you don't control or see what they do, they'll be able to see what these people are trying to sell outside there. So it's a matter of offering leadership as a man, giving direction. You are the driver of that particular family. You are the co-driver. Even in terms of leadership, in terms of responsibility, even in the marketplace.
Yes.
Generally, a man is required to offer leadership. Offer leadership in your organizations. Offer leadership. So, as a man, you are required to take that initiative. Take that initiative that your family have values in God. Set that pace for them, so that when all these things come, they are not shaken. So, offer that leadership. Be the driver. Initiate those difficult conversations. Initiate those. The conversation might be difficult, but try to initiate those particular conversations. Don't shy away.
So that you can control it.
Yes.
You can control what, I don't know whether it's to say you can control what they learn, or you can control, because if you don't do it, somebody else will do it who has no interest whatsoever in the welfare of your child.
Yeah.
I can tell you for sure, my dad never told me nothing about anything that I needed to know when it comes to relationship, because he came from a generation where that was a taboo conversation. So it was hit and miss. You get some of your friends, they tell you, well, this is how it happens. You discover as you go. Looking back, I wish I had that conversation with my paps, but I have had that conversation to some extent. I can't say the whole, hog. I've had that conversation with my kids, and it got uncomfortable. And then after some while, you're able to guide them and say some things without feeling uncomfortable, because you know you're saying it within the set boundaries. You know exactly what you want to achieve.
And also call them out.
Yeah.
As a man, you are a prophet. Call them out. There's something that you're seeing them. And that's why it goes back to identity crisis. Who are they? What are they living for? What is their cause? Call them out, so that if you realize that there's something that your child loves, call them out. Is there something that they're doing good? Call them out. Nurture them. So you are a prophet. If you see something, speak over their life. Call them out and say, and know what's their purpose. Try to figure out. You see that people are trying to figure out who they are. They're trying to try. It's trial and error. They're trying this and this and this. And there's a lot of things. And look at what is happening in our society. Even as a country, something that was going to be a value to us, like TikTok. The young people have misused it, and now it's going to be banned.
It's going to be regulated.
It's going to be regulated because the intended purpose of TikTok is not what the young people are using it for. So people are trying to figure themselves out. They are trying different things, and at the end of the day, they are missing the point because they don't have direction. And when you don't nurture, like now from primary to high school, and you leave your child to university, they're going to find different things. They see girls for the first time, say, oh, so these guys look like this. Say, oh, so you have never had those conversations.
Actually, now that you say that, if you go to any of the universities, you find the first years, you'll get your child whom you're taking care of from home, you send them to the universities. When you get there, in some cases you get that your daughters are somebody else's wife in quotes. Because they're living together. They've just discovered freedom all of a sudden, and they've been overwhelmed. And you have some young men there who've made it an art of taking advantage of the first years.
So if you don't set those particular values and they find freedom, and maybe you in Kiswahili they say kukazia, you are just on them too much, and then they come and find freedom. So here people can wear skirts the way they want. So these people are
nobody's supervising over
nobody's supervising them. While I was in university, there are people who are having different clothes. One for university, when they go at home they wear the long one. When they come to campus, they have clothes for campus.
They wear handkerchiefs. Basically, we call them handkerchiefs.
So it's about setting those particular values. It's about identity crisis. These people don't know. They're trying to figure themselves out. If you don't help them at that particular stage, they will get lost. And when you try to rescue them while they are already, and it's very easy to talk to children and to talk to an adult. They think they know. So, daddy, sisi tunajua, sisi ni generation Z, you get, and so they feel you are too much on them, or these particular generations, especially the older people. They will say, you guys don't understand us. Nyinyi mjui utamu ya maisha.
That's the same thing we told our parents.
Yes. So they feel these guys don't understand us. They don't know what it means to be a young person. So they do not want to listen to you. So it's very easy to speak to a young child than to speak to somebody who's already, because they also think they know to some extent. So start at an early stage. Lay those particular conversations.
Able to form their way of thinking.
Form their way of thinking, and don't shy away from having these particular conversations. Somebody tell them, and be open. When they're open to you, they say, Daddy, if you have a daughter, they say, Daddy, there's a young man who told me I love you. If you have never told your daughter I love you, and he is hearing it for the first time, he will be drawing circles because he has heard it for the first time. This is the first time a man is affirming her and telling her he has not heard from his dad. You're always coming late, putting your legs on the table. He has never heard that. So if you don't initiate a farm and
Yes.
at that particular stage, this girl will go outside there and find somebody who tells, I love you, and say, what did you say? She's hearing for the first time. So being able to set those particular values and calling them out as a prophet. Yeah. And your work is not just to provide. Be present. Be present. As much as you're doing a lot of work in the marketplace, be present. Spend time with your children. It's not about, you'll make money, but it's more important to spend time with your children. Yes.
Very, very well said,
yes.
Austin.
Yeah.
Well, it's a battle for this generation. And I think we cannot afford to hide our heads in the sand. We have to fight for our children. Now, starting next week on Sunday, we'll be having a bit of this, and then Christian news. We need to find out what's happening within the Christian fraternity. And then we'll be discussing some of the things that are affecting the faith and affecting the family, affecting everything to do with us. Because after all is said and done, we are the light of this world, and we are the salt of the world. And if there's anything affecting the light and the salt, then we need to deal with it. We'll be doing that starting next week on Sunday, same time from 9 p.m. Well, do have yourself a lovely evening, and make sure you have the conversations with your kids. All right? God bless you.
Sante.
That was good.